Cowgirl soccer continues to dominate in Big 12 play. Cowboy football continues to struggle on both sides of the ball, and our crew gets a taste of a Big 12 game day experience. All this and more coming up on the Poke Report.
Welcome to the Poke Report. I'm Toni Wetmore.
And I'm Griff McClellan.
And here we'll break down all things OSU athletics. Griff, I don't know about you, but I'm glad to be back in Stillwater.
I couldn't agree more. It's always good to be home. We had a great time in Ames last weekend, but it's always fun to be back here right in front of the Boone Pickens Stadium, except I'm not a huge fan of the weather.
No, 90s and the heat is not what I would like compared to Ames, which was 75 and pretty rainy and just a nice temperature for the fall.
Absolutely, that's how fall should be.
Yes, and speaking of Ames, the Cowboys did not get the results they wanted against Iowa State, but the Cowboy offense did show signs of improvement. Devin Bloomer has more.
Head coach Mike Gundy finally announced before the game a starting quarterback for the whole game, ending the three-quarterback system. Alan Bowman played his first full game for the Cowboys as the Iowa State Cyclones beat the Cowboys 34-27. The first score of the game was on the third drive for the Cowboys. A 71-yard run from Ollie Gordon set up a 12-yard rushing touchdown for Bowman. Iowa State then quickly bounced back the next drive with a 38-yard passing touchdown. Rocco Beck took Jalen Noel for the score. That would be the only touchdown of the game for Jalen to go alongside his 8 receptions and 146 receiving yards. Iowa State scored again early in the second when Beck hit Daniel Jackson for a 29-yard touchdown to put them ahead 14-7. Bowman answered right back with a 60-yard bomb to Jaden Nixon to tie the game at 14-14. Both teams scored again on field goals before halftime, but Iowa State would connect on a second field goal to make the score 20-17 Cyclones at the half. The Cowboys' first drive of the half ended with Bowman's first interception of the game. Iowa State wouldn't capitalize on that turnover as the following drive ended in a punt. Iowa State's next 2 drives would end in a passing touchdown for Beck, with the first one being a connection to Daniel Jackson again for 26 yards. Late in the fourth quarter, Bowman was able to drive down and throw a 20-yard touchdown to Rashad Owens to make the score 34-27 Cyclones with a little under 3 minutes left in the game. The Cowboys were able to get a stop and get the ball back with 2:29 left in the game. The Cowboys' last drive ended in disappointment as Bowman threw his second interception of the game that effectively sealed the game for the Cyclones. Bowman would end the game with 48% completion, 3 total touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. With Bowman's first full game under his belt, he impressed head coach Mike Gundy.
Looked like he played pretty good. Decision-making, what I've heard on the headphones, seemed to be good. I didn't hear of a lot of poor decisions, so I thought he played pretty good.
After the loss, coaches and players aren't upbeat about the loss, but morale is something that won't be a huge problem for them.
Yeah, well, they're not going to be upbeat. I mean, I don't want them to be upbeat. I understand what you're asking. I'm not worried about their morale. I'm not worried about their team chemistry.
I mean, nobody really, first conference game, nobody really liking the loss right now, honestly. I just feel like, we get to practice and we just push each other all the way through. I feel like, especially this week, I'll have to keep it up because, I feel like my attitude goes down and everybody else is going to go down too. So, I got to keep my boys up.
The Cowboys have a bye week this week with their next game being at home versus Kansas State next week. For the Poke Report, I'm Devin Bloomer.
Offense continues to improve against Kansas State.
Meanwhile, while we're still on the subject of football, we got a chance to get a good taste of another Big 12 team's game day experience. Our very own Brock Mills has more.
The sights and sounds of Ames, Iowa. This past weekend, the Oklahoma State football team traveled to Iowa State to face the Cyclones in what was a very close game. The Cowboys fell short by a score of 27-34. However, what happened before the game is a story of its own. As far as the eye could see, Cyclones fans set their tailgate tents in the fields of Cytown. RV trucks dominated the parking lots, and it is estimated there were over 10,000 parked cars outside of Jack Trice Stadium. During these pregame festivities, tailgaters would offer up their TVs as well as various food items. Iowa State also has unique game day traditions. Their bands marched down the streets prior to the games and also gave performances outside of the Hilton Coliseum. Also, they would perform Sweet Caroline after each win and have their own victory bells. Even our own Oklahoma State alumni were able to get in on the tailgate action.
This is our third time to Ames, Iowa. Well, we have a great time every time we come up here. People are really cordial and it's just a lot of fun. And we're here at the OSU Alumni Association tent right now, so we're enjoying that experience with everybody and ready to go win a game.
And then today here at Iowa State, everybody's been so friendly and helpful to us. We have over 200 alumni coming here. They've been coming and going, and they love it that we brought Iron Monk from Stillwater, and of course then we fed them pizza and everything, so it's all good, and we're just saying go Pokes.
Iowa State fans showed their warm hospitality to their fellow Cyclones, as well as the visiting OSU fans. The next time the Pokes are on the road, they'll be facing the West Virginia Mountaineers. We'll have to see what their game day experience will be like. For the Poke Report, I'm Brock Mills.
Thank you, Brock. Toni, I don't know about you. I had a good time in Ames. I got to experience some of the game day experience, but I don't think it compares to Stillwater's game day experience and all its tailgates.
No, absolutely. I mean, there's nothing like bleeding orange before a game, and I'll take that over the Cyclones every day.
Absolutely, 100% agree.
And moving over to the soccer pitch, the Cowgirls had 2 dominant wins over Kansas and Kansas State this week. Derek Mendez has that recap.
Cowgirls soccer is taking the Big 12 by the reins after consecutive wins against tough conference opponents. The Cowgirls have been showing out for their loyal and true fans, starting off with last Thursday's game against Kansas. Leading goal scorer Logan Heister wasted no time finding the back of the net after getting on the end of a great ball from Alex Morris 1 minute and 36 seconds into the match. Heister continued to be a threat in the attack and let one rip 23 yards out to test the Jayhawks keeper. The Cowgirls kept pushing forward, and in the 31st minute, Megan Haynes finished off a great play for what both teams thought put the Cowgirls ahead by 2. But head referee Matthew Thompson would end up calling the goal back for this foul leading up to the goal. This didn't stop OSU from creating more chances in the second half and limiting Kansas to just 2 shots, ending the night with a 1-0 win against the Jayhawks. The Kansas State Wildcats came into town Sunday afternoon to give the Cowgirls another big test at home. Ex-Grit Pineda had herself a game, driving forward with time and space in front of her and taking a hit 25 yards out that strikes the right post and into the back of the net for a 1-0 lead in the 40th minute. The second half was filled with more chances as Megan Haynes plays a beautiful pass through to Pineda and sets her up one-on-one, but the keeper comes up with a huge save. Heister would end up securing the win for the Cowgirls in the 83rd minute after she got on the end of a loose ball in the box and struck an incredible half volley for her 7th goal of the season. The Cowgirls are on a 4-game winning streak, and Pineda believes the team's chemistry has played a key factor in their recent success.
But I think we've really just been connecting on the field and off the field, and I think it's starting to show in games. So I think now it's just trying to do that from here on out.
After starting conference play 3-0, Coach Carmichael expects the team's current form to carry through and improve throughout the rest of the season.
But now that we're here, you get greedy, you want more, and I think our team are hungry to go and prove that we can maintain this and even build on it.
The Cowgirls are 10-2 overall and remain undefeated at home. The team looks to use this momentum to continue dominating conference play and remain top of the Big 12. For the Poke Report, I'm Derek Mendez.
Thanks, Derek. We wish the Cowgirls luck in their game against TCU.
Up next on the Poke Report, Cowboy basketball releases its upcoming schedule.
Softball training is underway.
And one Cowgirl soccer athlete continues to make a big impact on the field. You don't want to miss it.
I want to show you something. This is the money we could save by switching from fresh packed California crushed tomatoes to concentrated tomato paste.
I want to show you something too. I got a new door. Go take a look at it.
Nobody uses better ingredients than Little Caesars, like fresh packed California crushed tomatoes. Pick up a large, deep dish for just $8.
Pizza.
Introducing Lincoln Black Label at Diffie Ford Lincoln. Designed to impress those with impeccable taste, Lincoln Black Label features a collection of interior themes and a host of exclusive membership privileges, inspired by attention to detail and a love of automobiles. With Lincoln Black Label, you'll enjoy an extended premium maintenance plan that covers wear items or even remote vehicle delivery. Lincoln Black Label isn't about luxury ownership, it's about membership. Lincoln Black Label, exclusively at Diffie.
Welcome back to the Poke Report. The Cowboy basketball season is inching closer and closer every day. Emma Lightfoot has details regarding the upcoming schedule.
With basketball season only 1 month away, Coach Mike Boynton and the Cowboys are finishing up their first week of official practice. With core players like Musa Cisse and Avery Anderson gone and 4 players picked up from the transfer portal, this year's Cowboy basketball team looks a little different from last year's.
Really dynamic, different, very different. Even from a power forward or 4-man standpoint, we're much more skilled with Justin and Eric being our primary forwards and Q playing there some. But Brandon Garrison, probably his best offensive ability right now is as a passer. He's big and strong, but he doesn't really know how to score in college yet. But he has a really good knack for finding his teammates open. Miranda's just a freak of nature. He can run those 22s when his mind's right in about 16 to 17 seconds. And then Marshall's an adult. I think the guys call him Uncle Mikey. So.
With transfer players like Javon Small out of ECU and Mike Marsh out of Jacksonville U, the Cowboys are nothing short of talent. Small will likely take on an integral role with the Cowboys this year as their point guard and has already stepped into a leadership position with the team.
He wants the ball in my hands. He wants me to make plays. And, he's basically just putting me in a position that I need to be put in, to succeed. Everybody on the team has a job to do, and everybody can succeed in it. And my job is just to, get my teammates involved and, put them at their strengths.
The new-look Cowboys will start the season with a home exhibition game against the Oklahoma Baptist Bison. Tip-off is on November 1st at 7 p.m.
Thanks, Emma. Toni, what are your thoughts on the upcoming basketball season?
I have high hopes for the Cowboys this year. There's a lot of freshmen that are showing some promise already, and transfers are working well with the players that did stay this season. So I'm excited to see what they have to show for us this season.
Hopefully they can rebound following last season's disappointment at the end.
Absolutely. And basketball is not the only sport with their season around the corner. Softball is also beginning their season. Peyton Mulliken has more on what we can expect this weekend.
The Oklahoma State Cowgirls softball team looks to kick off their fall ball preseason games this weekend, facing the University of Central Arkansas away on Saturday and Wichita State back home on Sunday. The Cowgirls are 10-0 against the UCA Bears and 19-11 against the Wichita State Shockers. Head coach Kenny Gajewski met with the media ahead of the upcoming games.
Highly talented. Got some key returners back. We've got a lot of new faces. Really excited to get the fall season started just to see kind of how this puzzle is going to fit together. So I'll just leave it at that.
In the ever-changing landscape of college athletics, it becomes increasingly harder for teams to keep players within their program and build upon what they had last year. We met up with Scotland David and Lexi Kilfoyle to find out how their team has been gelling together.
Everyone is pretty welcoming. So in the freshmen, we're open to building relationships with everyone. So I think we're off to a good start.
Yeah, on the field, a lot of talent. Off the field, a lot of good relationships.
Oklahoma State Cowgirls softball team will start their home opener right here at Cowgirls Stadium on Sunday against the Wichita State Shockers. Coaches and players are hoping for a good turnout, and fans and students are invited. In the ever-changing landscape of college athletics, one thing remains constant, is that Oklahoma State fans remain loyal and true.
Lexi Kilfoyle will look to be a star pitcher for the team with the loss of Kelly Maxwell to the transfer portal to OU last offseason. She is someone that they may look for this season to be an ace for the team.
Honestly, I feel pretty ready if it comes down to that, because I have 4 years under my belt and I feel like I have everything mentally ready that I need to fill that role. So
the Cowgirls have reloaded their roster and are ready to start the season 2-0 this weekend, hoping for another great season of reaching the College World Series. For the Poke Report, I'm Peyton Mulliken.
Thanks, Peyton. I'm excited to see what the Cowgirls do on Sunday, and I hope all of our viewers will be in attendance there. Cowgirl athletics is rolling this season already.
Absolutely, and one major star to watch for is Alex Morris, who's chasing history on the soccer pitch this season. Zach Mullis has more.
Oklahoma State soccer is playing well right now, winning their last 4 and keeping their undefeated home streak intact. This would come as a surprise to most people, as the Pokes lost their 2 top scorers from last year in Grace Yoakum and Olivia Dowell. But a few of their players have been showing out this year, and one of those players is Alex Morris. Morris is a wingback who has been a consistent starter on the team since last year and has been playing for the Cowgirls since 2020. She's been a key contributor to the strong Cowgirl back line this season, but oftentimes she's ventured forward and found herself in an attacking role. She scored her first goal for the Cowgirls against Iowa State when she hit a screamer to put the Pokes up 2 early in the second half. But what's more impressive is the amount of assists Morris has been able to rack up. She says that part of the reason she grabs so many assists is her love of going forward.
I just love to go forward, I would say. I'm a defender, but my favorite thing to do is attack.
Alex Morris has 6 assists right now, which is the most of any player on OSU since 2020, and it's the most from an Oklahoma State defender since Alex Grimaldi did it when she had 9 in 2006. Oklahoma State has 8 games left at least on their schedule, giving her ample opportunity to pass Grimaldi. Assisting isn't anything new for Alex Morris, as she was able to rack up 5 assists in her 3 years for the 2023 season. Her 3 assists last season was also tied for the most on the team. The craziest thing is that the Cowgirls are nowhere near done yet. They still have teams such as BYU and Oklahoma coming to Neil Patterson Stadium. The team is looking to pick up some marquee wins, and Carmichael is excited for the challenge.
Now that we're here, you get greedy, you want more. And I think our team are hungry to go and prove that we can maintain this and even build on it.
The question is, will Alex Morris be able to get a few more assists and break the season record for the highest assisting defenseman in Cowgirl history? With the amount of games left, it makes it very possible for Morris to rewrite history for Oklahoma State soccer. For the Poke Report, I'm Zach Mullis.
Thanks, Zach. Alex Morris sure is fun to watch.
We're going to head into a break, but coming up, we'll talk some Big 12 football, and we'll see who's the best picks this week. Stay tuned.
I want to show you something. This is the money we could save by switching from fresh packed California crushed tomatoes to concentrated tomato paste.
I want to show you something, too. I got a new door. Go take a look at it.
Nobody uses better ingredients than Little Caesars, like fresh packed California crushed tomatoes. Pick up a large, deep dish for just $8.
Pizza. Introducing Lincoln Black Label at Diffie Ford Lincoln. Designed to impress those with impeccable taste, Lincoln Black Label features a collection of interior themes and a host of exclusive membership privileges, inspired by attention to detail and a love of automobiles. With Lincoln Black Label, you'll enjoy an extended premium maintenance plan that covers wear items or even remote vehicle delivery. Lincoln Black Label isn't about luxury ownership, it's about membership. Lincoln Black Label, exclusively at Diffie.
Welcome back to the Poke Report. As I'm getting a sunburn, I don't know about you, Griff, but I'm burning up right now, and we're going to head into our final segment. We have our Big 12 analyst Chase Horsley joining us now to discuss some Big 12 football. And Chase, what do you got for us?
Guys, being back here at Boone Pickett Stadium, it's so nice. It's really hot, so I do feel for you on your sunburn right there. But hey, let's jump into some Big 12 action. As the Sooners traveled to Cincinnati for the first time to play in the Big 12 game against the Cincinnati Bearcats. It all started off with a 40-yard field goal by Sooner Connor Brown. Then afterwards, it struggled a little bit for the Sooners as there was 34 seconds left in the first quarter. Dylan Gabriel throws a dot to Nick Anderson for a 5-yard touchdown. The Sooners go into halftime 10-3 after a field goal by Zach Schmidt. After halftime, Brown kicks a 54-yard field goal to make the game 10-6, but that was all the Bearcats could do. Gabriel finished off the game with 322 yards and 1 touchdown as the Sooners go on to win 20-6. Let's now move to Manhattan, Kansas, where the undefeated newcomer UCF is trying to stay on the winning path. The Wildcats start off strong with a 1-yard quarterback run by DJ Giddens. Following that touchdown, UCF kicked the field goal by Colton Boomer to give the Wildcats a 7-3 lead. UCF drove down the field where Timmy McClain threw a 29-yard touchdown to R.J. Harvey. The game went back and forth until the ending of the third quarter and the beginning of the fourth as the Wildcats got to a 37-24 lead. UCF did not give up as they scored the last points of the game with Harvey, a 1-yard touchdown run. Will Howard threw for 255 yards, no touchdowns, but did throw one interception. The Wildcats win 44-31. Let's stay in Kansas as the Jayhawks take on BYU for the first time since 1991. The Jayhawks start 3-0 in back-to-back years. The Jayhawks scored their first points of the game was a fumble return by Kobe Bryant to the house for the first score of the game. After that, Darius Lassiter got a 7-yard pass from Caden Slovis and made the game tied 7-7. Trevor Cardell caught a 15-yard pass from Jalen Daniels, and that'll give the Kansas Jayhawks the lead once again. BYU was the only team that got some points in the second quarter, as it was a touchdown from L.J. Martin and a field goal by Will Farron to put BYU up 17-14. Now, when in the third quarter, the KU Jayhawks were able to get things a little bit started as Kenny Logan Jr., a 30-yard interception return, puts KU up 21-17. And they finished off with a Seth Keller 23-yard field goal to finish off the game, winning it 38-27. Kendis Slovis finished off with 30 of 51, 357 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. And Jalen Daniels, 130 yards with 3 touchdowns. And guys, the Big 12 all set up, ready to go for the standings. And KU sitting up at the top of the Big 12 standings. And as we remember from last year, it was a different story as KU was in the exact same position. OU sitting in second. You got Texas right there behind, Kansas State, then TCU, and then the Cowboys are sitting third to last in the Big 12 right now.
Yeah, who would have expected Kansas to be on top if you had asked us a few years ago?
Absolutely, and being in the top 25 too.
Crazy.
Speaking of Kansas, without further ado, let's dive into this week's picks. Starting with a big Big 12 game, Kansas taking on Texas on the road. Chase, who do you have?
Man, guys, I have faith in Jalen Daniels, and I feel like everything's going to go the right way for them in this Kansas team. I've got KU upsetting the Longhorns this weekend.
I disagree. I have the Longhorns on top. I think Quentin Ewers is going to have a big game this weekend.
I'm with you, Tony. I got to pick the Longhorns, as much as it pains me to say it. I like the way Texas is playing. At the moment, they're my pick to win the Big 12. Give me a Texas win at home.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Our next game on the list is Iowa State at Oklahoma. Chase?
Guys, personally, I felt like Iowa State was going to end up winning this one, but after thinking about it and how stupid I was to say that Iowa State would win, I'm going the Sooners to win this one. As I kind of need some wins on these picks because I'm sitting in last place on the standings right now. So going the Sooners to win against Iowa State.
I'm also going with the Sooners. I think the Cyclones had a great showing against the Cowboys, but I think the Sooners will be able to stay on top this weekend.
Iowa State certainly looked impressive last week, but I'm not picking them this time. Give me OU. Our next game on the list, another Big 12 affair, West Virginia at TCU. Chase?
Guys, I did not think that West Virginia was going to pull it out against Tech. I mean, to being honest, West Virginia, they're hot right now, but I've got to give it to TCU. And TCU, yeah, they struggled against Colorado, but they've had some pretty good wins since then. Give me the Horned Frogs to beat the Mountaineers.
Absolutely, I agree. I'm also surprised that the West Virginia Mountaineers have been on top as far as they have this season, but I'm going to go with TCU as well.
I like TCU at home. They had a rough start, as you mentioned, but I like TCU to rebound. They've rebounded nicely the past few weeks. You mentioned Colorado. Let's go there next. USC at Colorado. Who are you taking, Chase?
So, guys, I think first off, we need to know that all of us were completely wrong the last time, and I'm shocked it didn't turn into a meme around campus.
Oh, it did. It did. It circulated a little bit, but we're human. We make mistakes. So
absolutely. But I've got USC winning this one. Caleb Williams, you cannot deny him Heisman, probably 2 times in a row.
Absolutely. I'm also backing Caleb Williams and expecting him to have a really big game.
Fun fact, I learned this recently. USC is 16-0 all-time when playing Colorado.
Wow.
That streak will not end this weekend. Give me USC on the road. Caleb Williams is the better quarterback. We all know that. He's going to outduel Shedeur Sanders. As much as we're inspired by Coach Primetime Deion Sanders, I got to go with USC on the road. Give me the Trojans.
Griff, I think we all kind of felt a little ashamed last week after going with Primetime. So, I'm with you.
Absolutely. I'm hoping Colorado can succeed this season. It's really inspiring, but they're just not built to play against teams like USC or Oregon last week.
Right.
It'll take some time to develop, but this week, give me the Trojans. Our final game this week is Notre Dame versus Duke. Chase, what do you think?
Guys, if you haven't seen what Duke has been doing, you guys have been living under a rock. But if you haven't seen what Notre Dame has been doing, you're even more living under a rock with Sam Hartman. Granted, yes, they did lose to Ohio State last week in that last-second touchdown run, but give me the Irish to upset the Blue Devils. Duke, I'm sorry. I love you, but I just don't think it's going to happen this time. The Irish are going to beat the Duke Blue Devils.
Absolutely. While the Blue Devils have been rolling, they haven't quite played the same level of competition that the Fighting Irish have, and I'm going to take the Fighting Irish this week.
Duke certainly started off the season with a bang, with a thrashing defeat of Clemson. Nobody saw that coming. That being said, I don't think they're going to be enough for Notre Dame this time. Notre Dame is hungry, looking to avenge last week's heartbreaking loss at the goal line. Give me Notre Dame this weekend, taking the win at Duke. All right, well, that wraps up our picks for this week. Thank you, as always, for tuning into the Poke Report. I'm Griff McClellan.
I'm Toni Wetmore.
Have a great weekend, everyone, and of course, go Pokes. Stay tuned.